Hello, everybody. All right, are we here? Are we all? It's all live. It's working. Okay.
Fingers
Nice.
crossed.
Fingers crossed. I think it's working.
Good
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Good morning.
morning.
Good afternoon.
Or good afternoon.
Good
Or
evening,
good
and
evening.
good night.
Cheers.
All right.
How was everyone's week, Ben?
I mean, y'all are here. All right, we got the waiters. Morning, everybody. I love it. Y'all are doing your thing. Y'all are talking. Okay, you hear us? Okay, we're all good. I am really excited about today's episode. It feels like because we aren't, doing game night, and because we have these since the refinery is not currently going, it feels like so long between the times that we are here.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it so much.
Mm-hmm.
Because then when we have this time, it is really, really,
Special,
focused and special
Yeah.
and important. Oh my gosh. How's everybody's week been? Throw it up in the comments. Let us know. Delaney, Christy, hello. Melissa, Fachette, T, Mom, Kimmy, come on now. Everybody's here. We missed y'all too. Okay, so today, my pregnant daughter is sick with COVID. Oh my gosh, Christy,
I'm so sorry.
we're sending you love,
Yes.
sending you prayers and good energy,
Oh my gosh.
good vibes.
Yes.
We had a friend who was, or a coworker who was pregnant and had COVID.
The pregnancy actually, something about the hormones in the pregnancy actually protected her from suffering a lot of these crazy symptoms
And the side effects. So hopefully that is the case with you too. She said that it was relatively through that the doctors, and she also reported that it was relatively painless comparatively. So hopefully, fingers crossed that that's the case with your daughter. But no matter what, wishing a speedy recovery and all that good stuff. Okay, do you want to give your disclaimer?
Yes, those of you that are here know this, but if you're new to Part of Love, welcome. This is not a family show. It is about love and relationships and sometimes about families, but it is not appropriate for the kiddos. So put them in the other room or put your headphones on, because anything and everything is always on the table.
Yeah, she curses like a sailor, like a little sailor, almost like a baby sailor.
And sometimes it's not even about the cursing. Sometimes the topics are just inappropriate. But there are things that are definitely we need to talk about. You know what I mean? We're building our toolbox. Toolbox of love. Which leads us to what are we talking about?
Okay. So today we are talking about, and I'm very excited about this, relationship problems that tend to creep up around the holidays. How apropos.
The holidays really. Everything is heightened during the holidays. I feel like, our emotions are heightened, our expectations are heightened. Everything it becomes very emotional, I feel.
Yeah. Suddenly there's so much weight on these things that haven't been issues, but because, a lot of times because family is involved, because there's something outside of your circle, there's other pressures or other, stressors, as it were, that haven't been there before.
Right. Oftentimes it has truly, you'll find it has nothing to do with you, but just sometimes outside of your circle, and lack of communication can sometimes cause a lot of problems.
And honestly, I mean, y'all know, if you've been here a lot before, that, the answer to most of these is going to be communication. Our kind of number one rules: self-awareness, communication, what and why. And if you've been here, those things. But as we all know, we can all know something. We can regurgitate it. We can be able to say it a million times and still find ourselves in that situation. We find ourselves in that situation, and we're the ones that are describing these rules to you. And we also find ourselves in that. So it's a constant, battle for growth.
Constantly growing.
What was it that we heard the other day about lobsters, and that lobsters grow?
They grow out of their shells.
They grow out of their shells, but they don't. It's not until they know, like, they're uncomfortable in their shell. Apparently, they go under a rock, shed that one and grow a new one, and then they have space to grow again. But it's that discomfort. Sorry about that. I just got an email. It's that discomfort that helps us grow. So don't get down on yourself if you are uncomfortable. And if some of these things you're like, shit, that is 100% me.
Hey, I mean, trust us though. I promise you, every year we still face, a bit of stress sometimes. And, who knows what it will be this year. But, again, everything's heightened, during the holidays. And it's normal. We're human. We're emotional.
Yeah. And it's very likely that this year, 2020, is not going to disappoint anybody with the amount of stress that's going to be added, especially with socially distanced things. I know there's a lot of people in the world that are just doing, like Thanksgiving dinner or Easter dinner, or, whatever it is, over Zoom, Christmas dinner over Zoom. We're currently fully quarantining so that, we can see your parents.
Yeah.
We're fully in quarantine, even though we are around nobody.
But I mean, people have different, states of health and things that you have to really, be extra careful, and it's putting different, kinds of stress that we've never dealt with before, in this way.
Added to the extra stress of the holidays, added to, the extra stress of just, being in a relationship and figuring those things out. So some of the relationship things that we are going to talk about today, we've kind of compiled from a few different articles that we found around. To be honest, if you were to look up relationship holiday problems on Google, it's going to tell you about like 60 articles that all say relatively the same thing. And so we wanted to pick the ones that we actually thought were interesting and useful to you guys, not just regurgitate whatever is being regurgitated by everybody else regurgitating. But I really like this one. Number one, let us know if this is something that you have encountered, all of these problems, not just this one, because this first one I was surprised by, honestly. It is called the winter dry spell. Relationship problem during the holidays. Number one is the winter dry spell, where suddenly it's, the holidays, and because of the stress, there is just your just sex life is done. Like you're not.
I think that's an interesting one, because isn't this the beginning of what is considered cuffing season?
Yes.
And I can see both sides of that story 100%. Like, I feel like when I was single or dating, or, when you're looking, you don't want to spend the winter alone and the holidays alone. So you're like,
she taught me this term, cuffing.
You're looking for, someone to, pair up with and hibernate with, basically, which I totally get, or could understand. But then I think this seems to be, I would think, referring to like couples already together, maybe.
I mean, I would only assume that this is kind of when you've been in a relationship a little longer term, and then you get to this point.
This winter dry spell. I understand it.
Okay. I mean, I understand it conceptually.
I don't want it for anybody, but I do fully understand it.
Yes, I think acknowledging it though is something that's important. Of like understanding and acknowledging it allows you to go, okay, how do we avoid this?
Right.
And so the way to avoid getting into that kind of situation is, I mean, there's obviously a lot of factors that go into it. If you're already in a dry spell long before, if you're in like a long-term dry spell, then that this is not necessarily going to help.
No.
But with regards to a relationship that's sexually healthy, and then you get to that winter dry spell and you get to the holidays and things start going awry, we kind of already called this, it's going to be about communicating, right? It's going to be about not just communicating your needs or your wants, but also understanding what those stressors are. If I know that you are super stressed, I'm not going to be bothering you about making sure that we have time, for making whoopee, as it were.
Making whoopee, I like that. Or sometimes, I so appreciate like the fact that you are, evolved enough to know that when I am stressed, like it ain't gonna happen. And because in order to have a healthy sex life, you have to have space in your brain to be present and enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
and
If
not
you're
even
not
just
gonna
the
enjoy it,
sex
like,
part, just
why
like the
do
time
it?
together, you know,
Yeah.
just taking time together in general, just being present. So it's
Yeah.
like, I think that when I, have experienced like major stressful times during the holidays, it's always been so helpful when you've been like, hey,
We're good.
let's talk through this. Like, we're good. Like, I don't need anything. I miss you, but like, how can I help you? Maybe alleviate some stress.
Yeah.
Maybe that would make us feel closer if I could help take some things off your plate.
And sometimes that is, but also there have been points, and I think this is with regards to relationships in the long term, not just the winter dry spell, but acknowledging like there have been certain points in our relationship when you have been going through something personally that is separate from our relationship, but that is personally affecting you in a way that I'm like, okay, like that's cool. Like we yes, I like what you just said. Yes, I miss you. Yes, physically I miss you, but like it's not a make or break. Like I'm not going anywhere. Like you'll come out of this at a certain point. There's a okay,
you can't blame it on
you
that
can't just blame it on
anymore.
that stress anymore. And because either you're not dealing with that stress that's causing it, or you're openly saying my relationship is not as important as whatever my worry about this thing is. Right. So there's a certain amount of time, and there's no single, way to define that. There's no definable amount of time, no finite amount of time that you can say, oh, well, this is how much time. But I know for us, there's because we do communicate, because we work to communicate and be open about that. I pay attention to those things. I do my best to. And when I know that's an issue, of course, that's something to take into account. And I think also, though, there was a time when I didn't understand that, and you shared that with me. Yes. And I think that is
communicating that, hey, there's nothing wrong per se. I don't, hate you. I'm not attracted to you. I'm not attracted to you anymore.
I was like, what? I wore my good hat.
But it's that I literally can't be present with you right now. And so it actually would be more useful if I could just have my friend like here, just like talk some things out. Maybe that will help me get in the mood. But right now I can't. Like, I don't have the space to do that.
But I've also found that you tend to find it sexy when, like you said, when I help with whatever stressing you, if I can, if I suddenly take care of a bunch of things, you suddenly have space in your brain to go, oh,
well, hello.
So yeah, I think that's a very important aspect of dealing with the winter dry spell. Also, knowing whether or not it's the winter dry spell, or you're just saying it's the winter dry spell because, like, no, we had sex in the fall, I'm pretty sure. Or was it spring? I can't remember. Like,
right.
You know what I mean?
Self-awareness.
Yeah. And also knowing what you want, and hopefully you see that dodge.
Oh, sorry.
Well, no, that was the third one. And the first two, I was pretty good with this. I got the hat here protecting me. Right. And then that one, I was like, bah. But yeah, knowing when we got into our relationship, we both were very open about what we wanted physically long term.
Yes.
Like,
maintaining that.
Yeah, it was like, look, this is important to me now, and I anticipate it being important for a while.
Right.
Forever.
And prioritizing that, and knowing that there's nothing wrong with talking about it, and saying, hey, this is what I want for our long-term relationship is good.
But I remember early on when we first started, talking about marriage and those things just in general as concepts, that I remember being very open about the fact that I was not okay with the concept of, well, once you're married, sex just really goes downhill, man. Yeah, you just, it's just not like it's not going to happen anymore. That whole bro mentality, locker room talk, whatever bullshit you want to call it, that's stupid. I just wanted to say that. That's very, very stupid.
But I purposely didn't marry that kind of person.
Yeah.
Because that is so unattractive. And I think there is You can tell when you're dating or in a relationship with someone that might be locker room talking behind your back, as it were. And again, I think it goes down to self-awareness.
Yeah,
and
know your person.
Knowing your person, yeah.
Self-awareness and relationship awareness. All right, let's move on to number 2. Well, let's go
to the comments.
Just a general comments. I think we checked all of those. Looking nice. All right. Windstorm, stay safe. Christy, keep your daughter in the prayers. I love that. I agree. You are very beautiful. Your hair looks very nice.
Oh, thanks.
Stress reliever for me and my hubby. Good on you, Melissa. That's great. That's the way.
Nice.
Celebrate with it. Get it. Good morning, Kelly. Okay, so let's pop on to number 2. You want to read that one? If you can, it's my handwriting, so I apologize.
Oh, no, that's okay. I got it. It's very nice.
Stylized.
The next holiday problem. You hate the present that they got you.
That's a strange one to me.
It is a strange one. It is a strange one. Yeah.
So I think for me, this has been one that I actually, and again, a lot of these we look at as, okay, this is a relationship problem, but it's not a holiday relationship problem. It's a relationship problem that rose during the holidays to help you understand your relationship in general better. Because the thing that I kind of love about that is if you hate the present they gave you, like I think the example that this particular, article gave was you got him a MacBook and he got you a scarf. And I was like,
well, I think we're dealing with two different issues.
And if you just don't like whatever that person got you in general,
right?
I think that's just like if you get me something and I don't like it, there's two main things, at least for me, going on. One is I would want to know why you got it for me. Like what made you think to get that for me? Was it thoughtful? Was it like, there should be so many other elements to it. And if you don't have an answer and you're just like, I thought you'd like this scarf. Well, I don't really wear scarves. No. It's cool. Look at it.
Right.
You're like, okay, that just means they maybe didn't put the effort in.
Exactly. And then you have every right to then feel a certain way about a gift that you can tell, and we all can tell if someone truly put thought behind the gift. Like there's an effort that goes into it and an excitement that there's a buildup. I can tell when you're so excited to give me something because I just can. You're like a little teapot ready to boil, but it's like the cutest thing. And even if I wasn't to like it, it's truly the gift is behind the gift. It's like the excitement and the thought that went into it.
Yeah.
Even if it is like the ugliest whatever thing you've ever seen, it's knowing that there's so much love behind that, and that's fine. Yeah,
that's one of those sayings that I think has gotten really misconstrued or kind of taken over, co-opted, whatever, by a lot of people. Is it's the thought that counts. Yes, but that thought has to be a tangible, like a thing. Like
the thought does count, and I can tell if
if you thought about it. Like that's
right. You better believe I'm judging the thought that counts.
Not just I thought about you and got you this gift.
Anything.
I got you something. I thought about you. It's the thought that counts. You're like, no, that's not what that means. It's what went into this gift. It's not the amount of money that was spent on it. It's the amount of thought and energy that went into it. The amount of love. That's the actionable thing about it.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my favorite gifts you've ever given me, obviously that bracelet is one of my new favorites that you got me for my birthday, but I think my overall favorite is the napkins that you saved with the so before we started dating, I was hanging out with my best friend Billy and his wife Christine down in Ocean City, Maryland, and it was right, like I felt like Ange and I were getting ready to get together, and we were always talking on the phone and stuff, and I went into a little like photo booth, and I grabbed some napkins. We were at an arcade. I grabbed some napkins, and I wrote, on one of them, I said, "Wish you were here." And I held up a different napkin in each one of the photos. And I kept the napkins, and I just kept them at the apartment, I think.
Yeah, I literally found them in his pocket or something.
And she found them and kept them for years. And then years later gave me a frame of the actual photo strip that I gave you.
I love that.
And the napkins are all framed and pressed into this
person
beautiful
was like,
frame.
Why do you have these? I was like, don't ask.
Don't ask.
Just
he's a weirdo. He's a super weirdo.
Yeah, but I think it's just thoughtful. I mean, some of the most beautiful gifts you've got me are not like the most expensive. They're just things that that I would love, or that you had made for me, or whatever it is. And obviously sometimes I also have some very nice gifts that are gorgeous, that wonderful things, and that's also nice.
But again, that, like, let's say the last bag that I got you, that was only because I knew that we were in a financially stable place, that it wouldn't stress you at all, that I knew that you wanted this thing, you would never get it for yourself.
Right.
And I just knew how long you had wanted that. You had put so much into that. We had talked about it for a long time, and I was like, fuck it, we're going to get it. I
mean, I was shocked.
Yeah.
And also,
I was really, I have a video of her walking around with it. She's like, in her pajamas. She's like, yeah.
And so when someone gives you, a luxurious gift, it's such a beautiful gesture, but truly it is exactly what you said. It's like, I trust you enough at this point in our relationship to know that we are financially secure. We, have worked hard enough and lucky enough I know that you set aside money for that, and that it wasn't that you planned. You didn't just like shove it on a credit card and say, I'll deal with this later. Here you go. Cause I know we have done that in the past.
I did that once.
I see people do that all the time, and you're like, that's nice of you, but you didn't. The thought actually goes behind the security behind the gift, and that you worked for it. You worked really hard to save money for this person to give them this gift.
It's causing so much more. You're actually taking from your relationship. Let's say you have a joint bank account,
right?
And you go out last minute, and you're like, fuck, I don't have anything good. I'm just gonna, you know what? Fuck, I'm gonna get this really expensive thing. You've now put your couple, like both of you, in the red to some degree over this thing that you got, just to momentarily make them happy until they understand that they're paying for it.
Right.
But it's very different if you were like, I worked, I saved this, I've been planning this, I took time to do this. And I think that goes for, a lot of not just during the holidays, but gifts in general. Some of the most impactful gift like that gift.
Yeah.
I had secretly been saving money on the side from extra things that I was doing.
Yeah.
So that I could do that without you even noticing.
Right.
You know? And I
had no idea.
And obviously for us, all our money is our money.
Right.
So it is what it is. But like whenever I would in any way get something, like a check from residual check or something from a TV show, or if I got
you definitely did the thing, or hey, and I was, at Christmas, I think we've told you guys this, or holidays or birthdays.
Oh yeah.
We're like, okay, don't check, the accounts right now.
Don't look at the card.
Just to see like where you're purchasing something, don't want to ruin any surprises.
Yeah. If you need to look at anything, and we specifically use separate cards during that time, and she's like, do not look at this card. I'm like, do not look at this card.
Yeah.
And that's our thing. And like everything is done that way because that surprise is so exciting and you don't want it to be ruined. And
but I know that you have allotted, for anything you purchase. And that was a lesson we had to learn.
Yes.
And
that's actually coming up next. I'm just going to throw it out there. Money issues. Cause this one kind of bled into that one.
Absolutely.
are, again, communicative. We communicate about like a general spending limit. Like in 2020, the year where we were both laid off in March or April, like is not going to be the same as last year when we were both making great money on jobs together and you know, working together and traveling to, like those have to be two separate things.
And
but
you have to know that the money is often a Band-Aid in holiday situations, right? With like gifts and things. Like gifts can be sometimes Band-Aids. And it's not always. Money's a fabulous tool.
No, money's awesome. I'm just saying money can be a Band-Aid. I like that. But it can be
used as a Band-Aid. And so, you know, sometimes, again, you pull out that credit card and you really don't have that kind of money, but you go buy this, you know, gift because you're like, no, this will make it better in whatever the circumstance. And it's not going to. It's going to add more stress to your life, more stress possibly to your person's life.
Yeah. We accept so many times we do whatever we can for short-term gratification so that we don't have to deal with long-term, like, or we, yeah, you know.
Yeah, of course. Oh, and also, you know, I know a lot of couples that buy each other these expensive gifts because they're covering up for, you know, being an asshole or you know, whatever it is, like, or trying to prove their love, you know, and trying to, you know, cover
don't
up
worry
something.
that I didn't do the day-to-day things for the last
but I
11 months.
This.
I got you this thing. Shut up. Like,
right. I
which
mean,
is essentially what you're saying.
We see that all the time.
Oh, yeah.
The holidays, again, it's all heightened. And oftentimes we let things go too when you get, like he did buy me this thing, so I should let it go.
Yeah.
And then it's just
I sort of owe him.
Yeah. I promise you by Valentine's Day, you're going to have that same issue unless he buys you something else. And then you're going to see it again for,
At which point you're not dealing with the issues. And that's what all of this comes back to is the holidays may heighten these issues, but they are not issues that only come up during the holidays.
Right.
They are heightened. They are brought to the surface because you're dealing with a million other things, and we no longer have that time to just be like, it's like, fuck it, it's fine.
Right.
Yeah. So
I miss you down. Sorry.
I'm not materialistic, so I don't need nothing but love. My hubby's love makes me happy. I love that. That's very, very cute. Your love makes me absolutely happy. Yeah. It's like my favorite thing in the world. I don't mind, you know, stuff too.
There is something though special, and it doesn't, again, a gift, it does not have to be material, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm human, you're human. Like sometimes it is wonderful to be doted on and to be surprised in some way. And to what degree, you know, it's a varying scale, but it's wonderful sometimes to come home to even the smallest thing. It could be a cupcake that you left, you know, on the counter for me with a little note. Like there's just something about gifts that is beautiful. And it's not everyone's love language, you know.
But one thing that I love about that is that part of that love is those things.
Right.
Part of that love is that sometimes when I'm at the, you know, grocery store, I'm like, those whoopie pies are really good.
Yeah.
She's gonna love
She's gonna like those.
Or, you know, I see flowers or something somewhere, or I stand by my birthday. You went to a lot of trouble my birthday to make a full Mexican restaurant because you knew that I wanted to go to one and couldn't.
Right.
And so she had ordered all of these things and let them sit outside for the required amount of time and then pulled them in and like made this whole, she made me a Mexican restaurant. It was incredible. It was decorated like Coco. And we watched Coco and I got that bracelet, which I hadn't talked about in forever, but for years I've been talking about, and you had it custom made. Like those things it's that amount of thought that we're talking about. So that's where, if you don't like the present itself, that is a very different thing than this doesn't mean anything.
Right.
And I think that's something important to look at and to be like, do I not like the way that this thing fits, or did you just get this at a yard sale,
or
you just threw a bag of shit together and we're like, this made me think of you, and you're like, oh cool, why? And they're like, because you are So special.
You can tell. You can smell it.
Yeah.
And I think again, though, it's trusting yourself to know that, and like to really see somebody, if you can tell, we in our gut, we can tell like how a gift makes us feel sometimes. If you, and sometimes when you get a gift that without a lot of thought, it makes you feel a little bit cheapened sometimes, because you're being forced to accept this gift and thank somebody for something very thoughtless, and you can tell that. And I think it's important maybe to not communicate it in like a crazy way, but, or maybe not even on the spot, but to really make sure that you, I don't know, address it if you feel it in your heart.
I 100% agree
because
with
that again is part of that communication issue. Like, it's important that you let your person know, hey, it really hurt my feelings that I don't think you put a lot of thought into this, and I really cared about what I did for you. And I don't know, communicating those things. Like, I know when I was younger, I was not good at that, and I let a lot of things slide. And it's all those tiny little things that start to make you question your self-worth in the relationship, And I wish I had the strength to communicate that someone wasn't making me feel a certain way, or was making me feel a certain way,
I love that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to, okay, we covered 2. Let's go over here and just double check. How's everybody doing? Emily, bonsoir. I like y'all agreeing. We're all good. Knowing my man or daughter's thought about me is a gift in itself. Absolutely. It's that thought, though. I was told we're adults and gifts are for kids. Oh, no. Oh, well. We need that to change. Whenever you are in that next relationship, Kimmy, you're going to find that love you deserve. You're going to get thoughts, gifts, whatever it is. You're going to have that love. One year, my dad bought me $25 store candles. They stunk to high heaven. Look on his face of pure joy was what made him so special. I would give anything for him to still be here.
Aww.
That's beautiful.
I mean,
dollar store candles, and he was just laughing.
He was like, right?
Yeah. But see, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing. It doesn't matter what they are if the thought is there. That smile, that genuine feeling. I know I get, especially around your birthday, shit. I get like giddy. Like, so I cannot sleep the night before her birthday. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God,
you
oh my
are
God,
so
oh my God,
cute.
oh my God. And as soon as the sun is up, I'm like, bah, let's get up, let's party. Let's do this. We got to start. Do you want to open your presents? You want to open your presents? How do you want to do this? Because I love that.
You love gift giving. You are.
I do, but I wasn't always great at it, but I've grown to like love that. And I've learned that from you, because you're so good at creating an atmosphere that is just fully encompassing. I love that so much.
I like, my favorite thing about like gifts, and I always stress out when I don't have like an idea, but I sort of like keep this mental notepad of ideas for years, right? So we'll be like in a store or at a restaurant, and like whatever it is, like I am good at like capturing like what people I notice they're like catching their eye, or what they order like on a menu or something, whatever like people like friends or family likes, and then like years later being like, oh, I remember that they liked this thing, and what if we do,
what if we do a whole thing about that? Yeah, she's real good at that.
Which led to making really good queso.
Yes. Oh my God, I got so sick. It was so good. I ate like a half.
I wouldn't advise making like that
cheese
real queso.
I would advise to do it immediately. If I had more right now, I would do that. I would sign off and I would just eat queso all day.
But it was good. It was good. Okay.
All right. What do we got down here, Kel? What'd you say? It's me planning whole days of fun things for the people I love. Of course it is. It's like the best thing ever. Because again, it's the same thing that Christy, I think you were just saying, like, it's just that seeing that smile on their faces and seeing how happy you make them in that moment. That is what is so special. That's that love. I love that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Ooh.
Yes.
Now this one is, I think, pretty interesting. Getting around the holidays, you suddenly are in a serious relationship. Like you were just dating, you were just fucking around, you're just hooking up, you're just booty calls, whatever. And then suddenly you're like, yeah, we were just starting to date. It was going really well. And then the holidays came along and now we are essentially engaged.
This is funny because this is sort of what I was saying originally. Yeah. Like it's confusing about the dry spell, but I understand now. So if you were single and all of a sudden you find yourself like totally cuffed up, cuffing season. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, I always felt odd about dating someone casually around the holidays because you're like, do I get you a Christmas present? Like, how many dates have we been on? Is it weird to
What's the rule here?
I almost would rather like hold out until like Christmas is over, unless you're like, if you've been seeing someone regularly, I think it's fine to, celebrate it in some way. That's very sweet. But like, if you just went on like a date or two before Christmas, like it is a little awkward to be like, is it weird if I text them on Christmas or like, or whatever your holiday you're celebrating? Like,
do I check in with them?
I
don't want to be like a lot. I don't want to be too much.
And everyone gets so weird these days about like every little thing,
everything.
Texting back too soon or not texting, but like it's just this whole game. So I don't know,
games, man.
But I am glad we don't have to deal with that anymore. Getting too serious suddenly. I've seen it happen though. I mean, you don't want to be alone for the holidays, and so you just kind of settle in with who's right in front of you.
Yeah, but I feel like
it's not good.
No, I mean it's certainly not. But I think we crave that comfort. I don't know. I didn't do that until I got to New York, but being in New York during the holidays is the most magical thing ever.
You want to share it with somebody.
And so you're like, but there's so many beautiful things. Like I want to look at this with somebody. Oh. Whereas when I was in Cincinnati at school, I was like, fuck this place, man. Whatever. I'm gonna go home. Like, just go back to Georgia. Like,
right. Right. Well, it's different. Yeah. If you're like going somewhere, but if you're in New York for that whole season.
When you're in New York and like, Rock Center tree is lit up and Macy's, every time you walk by, cause we lived at like 37th and 9th. I was on 30th and 9th. As y'all know that funny, creepy story. But you're walking by 34th Street and the famous Macy's windows during the holidays, the window installations at Macy's on 34th Street are incredible. And we would walk by every day. And I would intentionally like take the long way to work to walk by those windows because they're so beautiful. But
it makes you want to go on dates with people.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes you want to find anyone to share this with.
Yeah, you're like, you don't have to be great. It's fine. Like, whatever. But I can totally understand that.
Yeah.
Unintentionally getting serious. Also because you're sharing these very, these very beautiful moments. And so you're suddenly doing, at least I used to do this, and I don't know if any of you do this or have done this, but I wanted so badly to find love. I wanted so badly to find you. I was looking so hard for you that anybody who had any good qualities was suddenly like, especially in a romantic setting, you're like, this is the moment. This is where it happens.
Right.
Like we're having such and understand that when you're dating, you can have these beautiful movie romance moments and still not be like that person could not be for you. That's okay. I feel like in movies, when they have these beautiful moments, it's like only with the person they end up with. And so we look at life like our life is also a movie, and it's not.
No, and I think
it's a million
really good
movies.
Thing to accept though. Like we've both had really beautiful, devastatingly out of a movie, beautiful romantic moments with people, memories with people, and that's actually beautiful. Like enjoy the story of your life.
Yeah, your life is a million different movies. It is romantic comedies, and it's multiple ones. It's romantic comedies that aren't that great. It's romantic comedies that are great. It's horror movies. It's, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, when I walk Maya in the dark out here at night, it's terrifying. I'm just saying,
Halloween movie.
Your life in general is a bunch of different things, and don't pigeonhole yourself into that. Like, oh man, well, we're having this beautiful moment that would look so great if it was on film. And maybe that's just me and my cinephile brain being like,
right.
That's how I would see this moment. Okay, we'd shoot it from here and be uplit. It'd be so amazing. There's haze in the background.
Right. Well, now to top it off, it's like, did we get the perfect photo to post on Instagram so that everyone thinks that my Instagram life is my real life? And you have to be really honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Especially if you're trying to figure stuff out and you're dating and you're like, ooh,
yeah,
I don't know. Sometimes it's easy to get wrapped up in your own Instagram story.
Life, yeah, your own Instagram
picture.
Story.
Right.
I love that. That's so true.
I know a lot of people that are like, everything is great.
Yeah, no, I'm doing really well and everything's fine and I'm not
seems like
crying
you're about to
inside.
have a nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
But look at all my photos.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Look at this. Look how happy this person is. Oh my God, that's me. Like,
yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. So something about suddenly serious. What
Kelly,
do we got over here?
There is a new version as well, COVID cuffing season. Those who have been in lockdown relationships out of convenience. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I could see, how that would present a problem,
Yeah.
We have
people that have been on both ends of that.
Yeah.
I've heard of some people breaking up during this time. I've heard of some people getting together during this time. And I think, again, it goes back to self-awareness, knowing whether or not, am I doing this because I want that little to spend time by myself, or am I doing it because, I really like this person and yeah, this is crazy. And I'm sure that it looks crazy on paper, but it's like a really good thing. And we have one friend that actually started dating somebody right before COVID. Mm-hmm. COVID started and they were like, I don't want to not see you.
Yeah.
You want to quarantine together? Because worst case, we just
hate each other.
And then we're like, okay, cool. Then we go our separate ways in 2 weeks and then move on.
I think it's so mature.
Yeah.
I see nothing wrong with it.
No.
It's kind of great.
We have one friend that she started talking to somebody and then he flew across the country, got an Airbnb and quarantined for 2 weeks in the Airbnb just so he could then hang out with her in person.
Right. They didn't even quarantine together, or they weren't living together.
No,
or, staying.
They were
together.
just starting to date.
There to
and he was like, "But I want to see you face to face and see if this is a phone thing."
You have to quarantine because I'm with my family, and so he just
got
an Airbnb and did. And I was like, "Okay, well."
And now then they moved to New York together.
Yeah.
And they're like,
hey, when
chilling.
it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
It's the best, man. So yeah, there's no rules, just right. Olive Garden. I don't know.
I've been quoting the Olive Garden lately.
When you're here, you're family. Unlimited soup, salad, and breadsticks.
I don't think we've had Olive Garden in at least 10 years. Yeah.
I think we had it the first 6 months we were dating, and then no other.
Yeah,
time.
we were like, this would be fun, and
it was like our Golden Corral stint. I cannot believe we used to go to Golden Corral.
I think we went once.
No,
we keep saying
once.
we
went
really
a few times, a couple of times.
I think it was not more than. Well, I had never been to a Golden Corral, so I had to try.
That's my thing. You loved it.
And
the
I was
first time. No, you loved it.
I think I loved it because I ate something that made it delicious. Anyway, what? Yeah.
I would never.
Yep. Okay.
I cannot believe you.
Finding time to connect. Oh, Post-its. Finding time to connect is next on the list. During the holidays, it's hard to find time to connect, is what people are saying.
I guess again, it would go back to the stressors and in addition to work, in addition to adding family to those things.
Yeah. For me, though, I actually don't see that as a problem that we've encountered as much because we're very good at. I am obsessed with you. And oh my God, he's so fresh. And we're good at making time for each other.
Yeah.
We make time for each other every single night. It doesn't matter how late it is. We have to have a cocktail and sit and like hash out the day. And
even if it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, like we'll whip one down and sit there together.
We have to. And we always make sure we eat dinner together, even if it's like 3:00 in the morning.
Yes. Now that is obviously, I'm assuming, complicated if you have kids, if there are other aspects, but in general, no matter what, I mean, I know, I mean, you know, the ties have 3 children, jobs, work, all of those things, and they make time for each other, make time for the family. You do have to, I think it's like anything else, that there is an element of, you do have to make certain time.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's, so I think it's probably heightened during the holidays if you're not used to making time, or you're not good at scheduling time together. I can only, I mean, it's going down the drain during the holidays, especially, you know, if you add more stress to it. So,
but also I think there's, you know, that's when writing things down, making a schedule for yourself. We talk a lot about to make sure that we are able to spend time together and apart, to have our separate time, and therefore then to have good time together. We are really, really big on going, okay, this is the general schedule for the day. Here is what we're going to do. Here is, you know, this is the time that I'd like to stop to make sure that we have time together.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like last night, at 4:00, we were like, we're going to go walk the girls, and then we'll come in and we'll start dinner and we'll get into bed early. Mm-hmm. We got back and work just happened, and some meetings came up and we had some things, and we were like, shit. Suddenly it was 8:00, and we were like, okay, well, we're not going to get to bed as early, or we're not going to be able to watch that movie, or we're not going to be able to, you know, hang as long. We've got to do this quick. Maybe we can't sit down and read. Maybe we can't do these things. You know, granted, we're also kind of night owls. We're used to going to bed at 1 or 2. Yeah. But since we get up so early, we were up at 6 this morning, we're up at like 7 most days. You know, we try to fit as much into our little 2-hour window together as possible. But I will also sacrifice occasionally. I'll sacrifice an hour or 2 of sleep to be up with you an hour later.
You do. We also make use of all the time together. So like that 2 hours is not just like staring at each other, but if I have to make dinner and he's sort of doing like work, we do it all together.
Yes.
Like, you know, we're very much entwined in that. So the time feels like we're spending more time together. A lot of people are like, I have to make dinner. I hate cooking. I'm just, you know, and it's this chore, but if you turn it into this beautiful time together, open the wine, you know, sit together, even if you're doing something on the computer, I'm like, tell me what's going on. Read me the email, you know, whatever, you know, I want to know.
Yeah. And sometimes you'll be cooking and you do not necessarily need and or even want my help.
Right.
Because you've prepped everything, you've done everything, and I can't physically help you in that moment. So I'll just like hang out with you.
Yeah.
And I love that. Ask you what are you doing with these things? Because and I think this is an important aspect of relationships. And this is, again, something that we wanted and we knew that we wanted. And we were very clear about, if I'm sitting on my computer doing fuck all, she will be like, what are you doing?
Hey, babe.
Hey. Yeah, there it is. Hey, babe.
Hey, babe.
What you doing?
What you looking at?
What you looking at? That one. And that's my cue in my mind. I mean, it's Pavlovian. You've literally trained me to go close the computer and come over and hang out. Or sometimes I'm like, I just need a few minutes. I need my brain to turn off and I can't talk. So
totally understand.
Throw your headphones in, listen to a podcast, because I'm not going to be useful for the next 30 minutes. But because I know that I will be shitty if I go over there to the kitchen and help you by sitting there, I'm just going to be, you know, in a funk. Then I take that time.
Of course you should. And everyone needs, I mean, you know, when you need that space, but if you're just kind of like scrolling on Instagram or looking at, you know, sneakers or whatever it is that you like to do on your phone, put the phone down, go be with your person, you know, you got to make use of the time.
Yeah. I think really, 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 really accepting, being self-aware and knowing I do and or don't actually need this thing or this time to myself. There are a ton of times where I'm like, I'm looking at news and you're like, hey babe, what you looking at? Nothing, literally nothing. I'm reading the news. So sorry. And then I realize that, but there are other times where I do need that time. And in that moment, when you ask that, it's not a passive aggressive thing. You're genuinely asking like, is this, and sometimes you'll just go, are you doing something important? You ask me that all the time. Hey, hey babe, are you doing something important? No. Then, you know, it's just being open about those things, non-judgmental, and allowing for that space in the relationship, but also knowing because of communication that, you know, you want me to be over there. And sometimes I also want to be over there, and sometimes I can't. Yeah. And sometimes I'm doing it.
And
Or if I'm making pizza
a vice
or pasta,
versa thing. Like sometimes you're like, hey, who are you talking to? What are you doing? And I'm like, because I have an obsession with like continuing to work.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Through like, you know, till like all hours, you know, if it were up to me, sometimes we wouldn't stop till like 10. Yeah. But then I'm like, well, we got to get up at 6. So I don't know. But
and then you go to bed and your brain's like,
right. And I need to stop answering emails or doing work stuff, you know.
It is a hard thing to force her to stop working.
Let's put a plug in it, you know?
Yeah. So either way, that is our recommendation for that. You kind of have to make time, and you have to be cognizant of what your relationship needs and what your partner needs and what you need. Those are all 3 very important things. We actually talked about that in one of our first videos, the 1, 2, 3 rule.
Yes.
And that really does apply here. So I'll link it up here. I'm at 51 minutes. Perfect. Just trying to remember where I'm going to put the card. All right. You want to get this last one in?
Okay. Last one.
One more? Yeah. Last one.
This is a good one.
Yeah. This is interesting.
Last problem is clashing holiday traditions. When you and your partner have clashing holiday traditions. I think,
and I don't think they mean culturally. I think they mean, and I mean, maybe that, I mean, that's on a larger scale.
Yeah.
I think, but also something, you know, to be talked about, but we don't have experience.
This obviously though comes up a lot in the beginning of relationships, you know, and learning how to compromise.
I think until you have created your own traditions too.
Yeah.
Like that was honestly, I would say that was a big thing for me. Was at some point I remember I just kind of was very blunt, like with you about these. Yes, these are the things that I did. These are the things that you did. But and we can incorporate some of both of those. Right. But I am not interested in those. I'm interested in what our family is going to do. Right. And because, you know, of a decade plus of holidays together, we've developed traditions. We've developed those things. But
I think that's so special though, too, you know, like what we have created for us and our family, our little family is beautiful, and it means the most to me, you know. And obviously, we've pulled from both of us, but
it's so many of these things are just kind of microcosms of the relationship as a whole, right? So looking at your clashing holiday traditions, you know, let's say like, what's the first thing that you as a kid would do on Christmas morning?
We would wait at the top of the stairs and take our photo in our Christmas pajamas before we were allowed to come downstairs.
Right. And then you just did presents, right?
And then we would start right away with like presents.
And your mom, you know, would make a huge spread of food, God knows.
Yeah. We would have like pizzelias and like, you know, whatever, like mimosas or pretend mimosas and
orange juice.
Yeah.
And like,
and
mine was totally different, but we always had, and this was something that carried over for us. We always had sausage balls is what we called them. And, you know, we're vegetarian, so now they're Beyond Meat sausage balls or Impossible sausage balls. But it's literally just like sausage, Bisquick, or, you know, homemade biscuit mix, and cheese and like spices. And you just roll them into balls and put them and you bake them in the oven, and they are incredible. Like they're just so fucking good. And I made them for you, and it became something that was kind of incorporated into ours.
So now we do it like on Thanksgiving.
Biscuit balls.
Christmas.
Yeah. And we've made that a thing, and we watch, but we have like the champagne or the mimosas, watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade and eating the sausage balls, and like we've created our traditions. But separately from that, we have our traditions of what movies we watch, and when we put the tree up, and how we do those things. And I think at a certain point in your relationship, you have to choose what is your when did you become your family, your traditions? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't think that has to do with marriage or, any specific thing, other than the two of you just kind of finding like what you are doing. And it takes time.
Trust in your relationship too, and it takes time, and build tradition and love. That takes time, and it grows over the years. And so as we've grown, we don't think twice about some of the things we do now. We've had these traditions for so long. Certain movies we watch and themed nights that we have throughout the holidays. Like, we just have so many random traditions that I love.
But it comes from time. So don't rush those traditions. And again, talk about the ones that you're like, no, this is a non-starter for me. Like, I'm going to do this. Like, I want this to be a part of our thing. And if your partner's like, no, tell them fuck off. And
like, this means everything to me. Please do this with me.
Don't wait till you're 10 years in and be like, we never made the sausage balls. And I really wanted them 10 years ago. And we never did. You know what I mean? Don't let it get away from you. And that's just a general rule for your relationships. Like, don't let things get away from you. Don't wait till the holidays come around, or till kids come into the picture, or until, don't wait to deal with your issues.
It will get worse during the holidays.
Like, they will only get worse over time. Like, these things don't just work themselves out. They matter. And your opinion matters. Your gut instincts matter. And the love you deserve is what you want it to be. Like, it's that simple. So, go get that love.
Nice.
Yeah. All right.
We'll see you guys next Tuesday live. We have an episode coming for you on Thursday.
Yes.
How many more weeks before the refinery?
I believe it is less than 2 weeks.
Nice.
Yeah, it's not this Friday, I don't believe.
So
could be wrong.
Potentially next Friday.
But potentially next Friday, I believe, is the first episode back of the refinery season 2, which I am so excited about.
So excited.
Oh my God.
Okay. We love you guys. We'll see you next Tuesday.
See you everybody. How do I still not know how to do this?
Where's the end button?
Like, I just went over to edit. And all right. Bye, y'all.